Colonialism and urban change. In most parts of the Western world, modern cities emerged with industrialization. In Britain, industrial cities like Leeds and Manchester grew rapidly in the 19th and 20th centuries as more and more people sought jobs, housing, and other facilities in these places. However, unlike Europe, Indian cities did not expand as rapidly in the 19th century. In the late 18th century, Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras rose in importance as presidency cities. At the same time, a host of similar cities declined. Many towns manufacturing specialized goods also declined due to drop in the demand for what they produced. Old trading centers and ports could not survive when the flow of trade shifted to new centers. Similarly, centers of regional power collapsed when local rulers were defeated by the British and new centers of administration emerged. The process is described as deurbanization. Cities such as Machilipatnam, Surat, and Seringamapatnam were deurbanized during the 19th century. By the early 20th century, only 11% of the Indians were living in cities. Colonial architecture spanned 150 to 200 years. In the beginning, British built factories. Soon they went on to build schools, courts, municipal halls, and bungalows. Many buildings were adaptations of structures made by leading architects of the time. Early buildings used brick and limestones. Stones were used to build impressive structures to show imperial authority. New materials such as concrete, glass, and wrought iron were used later on. European styles were adapted to the Indian conditions. The style was a mixture of Hindu, Mughal, Afghani, and European elements. Deurbanization in the 19th century. The European phase of India's urban history has its beginning in the period during which Mughal supremacy was at their peak. The 19th century's urban scenario stands in contrast to the Mughal period of urban growth. The two main reasons for the decline of the cities during this period were, firstly, the lack of interest on the part of British in the prosperity and economic development of India, and secondly, the ushering of Industrial Revolution in England, altering the very complexion of urbanization in England and in India at a later stage. Trivia. In 1854, Lord Dalhousie, the then Governor-General of India, formulated a plan to construct a network of trunk lines connecting the principal regions of India. The decline of a large number of urban centers in India during 19th century was primarily due to the negative attitudes of the British towards the traditional industries of India, particularly the cotton textile industries. Silk and woolen textiles fared no better than the cotton weavers and spinners. A similar fate followed in other industries as well. By the end of the 19th century, England had emerged as a major industrial economy of the world, and India was the main market for the British goods. India's traditional urban centers, which depended on the export of its industrial products, declined rapidly as a consequence. Another factor contributing to the decline of urban centers of the pre-British period was the introduction of the network of railroads in India. By 1900, the rail network had been fully developed and were connected to all parts of the country. Every railway station became export point of raw materials, thus depriving some of the earlier trade centers with their monopoly in trade. Many trading points on the Ganga River, such as Mirzapur, lost their importance. Moreover, the ruin of the Indian handicrafts reflected in the ruin of towns and cities which were famous for their manufacturing activities. Agra, Surat, Lucknow, Dhaka, Indore, and Tanjore, etc. lost their previous glory. Some populous and flourishing industrial centers became depopulated. The decay of traditional industries did not accompany the growth of modern machine industries, as was the case in Britain and Western Europe. Consequently, the ruined handicraftsmen failed to find any alternative employment.